The purpose of this video is to help us as online facilitators to provide effective feedback to our students. How many times have you written something and someone tells you, good work or well done? What does that mean? What part of the work is good or what part is well done? Do good and well done mean the same thing across the board for facilitators? How do we grow from such feedback? How will students measure good work? How will they benefit from well done? How do they unlock feedback in order to grow? These are some of the major questions we must ask ourselves as we engage in providing effective, constructive feedback for our students. In providing feedback, we must ensure that we provide students with enough information for them to grow from the process. The assignment is completed and the grade is already given. Therefore, the real purpose of feedback is to ensure growth for future assignments. This video will therefore focus on providing effective written feedback to our online students using a simple three-part method. Let's do some self-checking. How is my feedback? Is my feedback student-centered? Is my feedback aligned to the rubric? Is my feedback consistent with the goal of the assignment? Is my feedback clear and easy for the student to understand? Will the student know what to do with the feedback? Did I provide only negative comments or did I also add some praise? During feedback, do you focus on the actual assignment or have you gone into general comments? Are you addressing the assignment or have you mistakenly addressed the student? Have you overcorrected? We can get excited and often overcorrect. It is therefore important that we be aware of what we are correcting for. These points should all be included in the rubric which is provided to our students. A few tips. Use a friendly conversational tone. Return feedback promptly, especially before the next assignment. In providing additional support, refer students to cases, chapters, pages in particular texts. Be careful not to overcorrect. Overcorrecting can allow students to become overwhelmed or impact their morale. Do not give so much feedback that students have to wade through it all to get what is needed. Be careful not to become exasperated, sarcastic, or rude in your comments. Part of your role is to support and encourage students in their learning. Set this tone during your first feedback. The three-part feedback method. In this method, start the feedback addressing something the student did particularly well. Then discuss the areas needing improvement, followed by another discussion of positive ways to change or grow. Placing something that can be perceived as negative between two positives sometimes makes the process more palatable for the recipient. So think of your feedback to your students as a sandwich. What you met, what you haven't met, and next steps to consider. Start with the strengths. Always start with the positive. No matter how hard that paper is to mark or no matter how bad the overall picture is, you must begin with a positive. Remember, part of your role is to support and encourage your students in their journey. You are their mentor, not their judge. I have been there like so many of you where I look at a paper and I'm lost for words. There is nothing good I can find immediately to say. Those papers are the ones I have to put aside and return to it later. If I provide feedback now, it will be horrible. It is horrible because I am acting on my first impression and I am also emotionally connected to my work as any regular teacher. I am disappointed. No, I am actually upset with what was submitted. However, I must find something positive to begin with. I have used phrases in the past such as, thanks for your timely submission. Let us look at these two samples. Thanks for sharing. Your reflection was honest and a pleasure to read. It is good to see your progress and you getting the real value from a course of this nature. The second example, an excellent, well-developed and engaged paper. You hit the ground running with a very good introduction that captured the reader's attention, and the well-developed arguments kept that same attention to the end. Your paper proved that you not only understood the concepts and the model, but were able to employ high-order analytical skills. This was a very good critique. You presented your position and used very good arguments to strengthen your position. Now that you have established a positive tone, you move on to your concerns. Here are two examples. The outline seems rushed and many of the elements not properly developed. I have given you samples as guide, and this project did not reflect the content and level of those samples. You did not complete all the sections of the assignment. There are missing elements. The first section needs development in the areas of needs assessment, learner profile, and general course description. Second sample. You needed to have used more concrete examples from the field of leadership within your school. More interaction with the leadership theory demonstrated in your school was also needed. This is the intended focus of the reflection. Finally, provide suggestions for future assignments. Here are two examples. Ensure moving forward in the course development that all the proposed activities and related processes are connected with the learning outcomes. I look forward to seeing how these objectives will be linked with the course content. Example number 2. A reflection at this level is not merely a journal of your thoughts, but you need to show how your thoughts have been affected by course content, vocabulary, and concepts. This must be done using quotes from the material or from other sources. Don't forget you are writing now as individuals who will write policies and impact education leadership in your own countries. I needed to see more of how the content, concepts, and vocabulary have impacted you and your daily work. Take a look at this feedback with the 3 parts clearly highlighted. Pause the video and examine the parts. I will close with a few reminders from Fenwick and Parsons 2009 from their book, The Art of Evaluation. Number 1, feedback is needed. One of the biggest issues in online delivery is a perceived lack of feedback. This is especially true when giving or grading assignments. Learners' most common complaints centered on the following question: how can I improve when I don't get feedback on what needs improving? Number 2, feedback must be prompt. Because assignments are time sensitive and learners often balance work, home, and learning, waiting for feedback is painful for learners who may be on a tight timeline and need clarity to move on. Number 3, feedback needs to be constructive and instructive. Because online learning lacks the clues present in face-to-face learning, it is necessary to consider sensitivities first and content second. Instruction must include substantial instructive feedback, suggesting positive improvements and leading learners to other sources for their learning and development.